It's hard to believe that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt released back in 2015, and now it is finally getting next-gen support for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, and I want to thank CD Projekt Red for providing me with early access to this new update. You're seeing all this being played on an Xbox Series X, and it has been so amazing to jump back into this world and to be able to play it in such a beautiful way. You've got two modes. You have a performance mode, which runs on 1080p at 60 frames per second, and then you have the ray tracing mode, which is in 4K, but at a 30 frames per second frame rate. So lower frame rate, but better for visual fidelity and things like that. And I'm going to show you guys some scenes of what this game looks like running in both modes, so you guys get a very nice comparison of the two with different lighting settings, different environments, even a little bit of combat from both, so you guys can see. But the great part about this new update is that it doesn't just provide different graphical modes, but you also get a little bit more features in here as well. You do have the ability to unlock and gain access to The Witcher's armor from the TV show, so they did mix in a little bit of the Netflix series. There's also several different appearances for Ciri, Triss, Yennefer. Even you can make the Nilfgaardian forces have a different look to them as well. There are also some options in this game that I really enjoy, which you can see there is the quick sign casting. And if you turn that on, it's going to make casting your signs so much easier. For the Xbox, all you have to do is hold down the right trigger, and it will give you buttons, A, B, Y, X, to choose which sign you want to cast. The other cool part is My Rewards. So if you connect this to your GOG.com account, you will be able to unlock, once again, the sets that you can use from the TV show. You do have to get to a specific level in order to be able to use them. So you do have the Sword of 1,000 Feathers. You do have the Armor of 1,000 Feathers here. So you have the 1,000 Feathers set here, which is really awesome. Tied those things in and did some tie-ins from the Netflix TV show. One thing I do recommend doing is when you get into the game, is go into the tutorial pages, and it will show you all the additional content that's been added to the game and from this recent update, and all the other new quests, things like that. This is part of the Complete Edition, so you do get the Hearts of Stone and the Blood and Wine DLCs as part of this, which has always been relatively inexpensive over the years. You've been able to get this at a very cheap discount. If you already own the game, you will receive this update as well. Now, let's take a look at how this game looks visually. This is the performance mode at 60 FPS, and it runs at a much smoother frame rate. I recommend this. Personally, this is the mode that I've been enjoying the game on most, just because of the higher frame rate. It makes things so much smoother, very beautiful. I know it's kind of hard to believe that this is the lower fidelity option for lower visual graphic fidelity. This is only in 1080p, but it doesn't really look like it. Now, you're going to see a little bit of ray tracing here in combat, which I think makes combat a little bit more difficult. See, I'm having a little bit of difficulty here because it's not as smooth. So, me personally, of the two, I recommend, just because of the combat, if you want to just switch back and forth between two while you're playing, which is what I've been doing too, turn on the performance mode when you're doing combat, because combat is much easier and much more smooth when playing on performance mode. It just feels better. It makes pulling off moves easier, in my opinion. And then if you want to go back to enjoying the landscape, you can go into the options, go into the display settings, and you can flip back on the ray tracing. Now, I'm showing you guys different things so you guys can see the lighting, because lighting is important when it comes to ray tracing, because that is where that encompasses, is the lights, and making sure that the areas are lit as they would be or should be. If you notice, when I flipped the ray tracing to performance mode, in here it made the walls brighter to give more gear it more towards the frame rate versus the visual fidelity. So when you have the ray tracing mode on, it's going to make the areas lit the way they should be versus and losing some losing some frame rate. So that's kind of up to you how you want to play the game. I personally have been playing the game mostly, almost exclusively in performance mode, but I have been flipping back to ray tracing too, because I want to see how areas look, such as the inside of the castle here. The Nilfgaardian castle. You can see the visual fidelity here looks so much better, even though at a lower frame rate. But when I switch it over to FPS, the 60 FPS performance mode, you do lose a little bit of that lighting, like light shining in through the screens and things like that. That is why ray tracing is important, because it definitely makes the lighting look a whole lot different depending on what areas of the game you are in. You guys are going to see me talking to Yennefer here in just a second. I'm doing this in ray tracing mode, so you guys can kind of see a little bit of a more closer detail of how the characters look, how they look better visually, and they do look better visually, along with the lighting, how the light reflects off of their armor and gear sets and things like that. Especially this is true when it comes to Geralt's armor, how the lighting does reflect off of that. You can kind of notice that here, even just a little bit from Yennefer's medallion and stuff that she's wearing, and things like how the light reflects when she moves towards the fireplace. But yeah, other than that, the game just it's so much better. It runs so much better. It's definitely better visually. It's definitely better in terms of combat. Once again, the performance mode, to say it runs at a lower visual fidelity is crazy, because I think the game looks fantastic on the Xbox Series X. I'm sure it looks just as good on the PlayStation 5, but just look how gorgeous this is, even in the storm right now. This looks great. My one complaint is the chromatic aberration. You can't turn that off and on. So you saw there when I was going through that storm, it looked almost like there was a circle around there. The corners were dark. That's called chromatic aberration. So it tries to focus, makes everything focus, the player focus rather on the center of the screen. Although I thought it was a little bit distracting, seeing that darkened corners in the bottom at night, especially, is kind of when they pop up more. But here you're seeing the water. Water is important, reflections off the light and things like that. I wanted to showcase that as well. But I'm excited for you guys to be able to get this on Wednesday, December the 14th. You guys will have access to this. There will be an update. And whether or not you've just bought this game recently in a sale of some kind, I know it was on sale, it was on the Xbox store, or if you've had this game like I've had it since it came out in 2015, no matter who has it or when you bought it, how you bought it, whether it's disc-based, digital-based, everyone gets this update for free. So it's going to go from probably having version 1.4 to 4.0, and that's a massive, massive jump in update. But this is going to be, from what I understand, the last update for The Witcher 3. We're going to be getting, The Witcher 4 has been confirmed. We're also going to be getting a remaster of the original Witcher, which is going to be exciting because not many people have played that. That was only released on the PC, with Witcher 2 being the very first ever Witcher game that came to console. But anyway, let me know you guys' thoughts on this below. What do you think about the new update, the new next-gen update for The Witcher 3? Are you guys excited to be jumping back into Temeria? Let me know your thoughts on this below. What do you think about this gameplay? What do you think about how it looks visually, or smoothly rather? So with that being said, thanks so much for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to us here on The Domain. We cover video games, gaming, movies, TV, and so much more. So please be sure to give us a subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.